Shalom, peace and blessings be upon you in abundance. I'm getting ready. I'm sorry, I started my camera uh, before I was completely ready, but I'm staring at the backside of my camera because I dropped my phone that I'm recording on right now, and I shattered the uh, the front camera. So I have the back camera to use. I'm using this phone because it I'm using this phone because it has more hard drive space than this one. So sometimes I record on this particular phone and listen to music on this one, since I can't seem to do both on one phone, or I haven't at least figured out how to do that yet. But um, so, well, hello. The reason I am coming on to talk right now is to talk about my own health and wellness journey that I have been facing for, probably since my teens. So we're talking about over 30 years of battling with type 1 juvenile diabetes, and the battle that has been, and the things that I have learned along the way. When the doctors told me that there was no cure for diabetes, you know, when doctors, somebody that is respected, educated, starts planting seeds of hopelessness and despair in people, because let's be honest, many doctors, many nurses are speaking, and it's probably mostly doctors, because they're the ones typically coming in and giving the bad report, right? They're the ones that come and say, hey, you got this or you got that, and they sow seeds of worry, fear, and doubt into the hearts and minds of the people that are unwell, and they make them feel hopeless. And that hopelessness triggers a cascade of many different problems that people face. You know what I mean? When people feel hopeless and start despairing that like it's over for them, many people give up. They don't fight. I, on the other hand, when the doctors told me that I was going to be a type 1 diabetic, you know what I mean? Um, well, that I was diagnosed, and I wasn't diagnosed until I was about 25 years old. I was diagnosed. Um, and I felt horribly miserable then. But what this caused me is to go on my own health and wellness journey. You know what I mean? I am a man of faith, and I believe that God is a healer. You know what I mean? And um, and so I believe that I received that hope from my faith, and that hope is what keeps you fighting and pressing forward in the midst of bad news. That is truly the power of faith in the Lord God Almighty, that you believe, even though the doctors, the news reports, everything is telling you it's over, you know what I mean, it's done for. These doctors are sowing seeds of worry, fear, and doubt in people's minds, and it's causing people to give up on life by what a doctor says. And so when they began speaking that word to me, I have a choice. When somebody says, hey, this is what's going to happen to you, I have a choice whether to believe that word or reject that word. And so, you know what? I reject that word. I don't receive it. I don't believe it. Why? Because my God is greater than all. You know what I mean? And so that faith has caused me to begin a journey of discovery upon about my health and wellness, um, and how to take care of my body. Like, I had to learn the proper things to feed my body, and this is probably one of the gravest evils that is happening in the world. Is like the government is giving you recommendations that are making you sick. Doctors are telling you to do things that are making you unwell. They are. And as much as people respect doctors and are in awe of this, massive amount of education, human beings are fallible. They make mistakes. Medical malpractice lawsuits are proof of that. That doctors make mistakes all the time. And medical malpractice, bad practice, means doctors are doing bad things. You know what I mean? And um, their practices of medicine is bad. It's dysfunctional and it's causing people to be sick and unwell. And what makes it even worse is the money motivation behind medicine. You know what I mean? People get into medicine not to make people well, but to make lots and lots of money. And that is people's motives, right? If everybody is well, there's no need for doctors. So the demand is contingent upon people being sick. And I believe the recommendations of the government is designed to make you sick, you know what I mean? So that you spend your money on health and wellness products, you know what I mean? Organic food. You spend your money on doctor's visits and medications and surgeries. You are bled dry of the wealth that you earn for when you get sick. Because there's a lot of people that make money off of sick people. And the government and these institutions that are profiting off of your sickness don't have any incentive to eliminate so having a chronic illness means that you have to go to a doctor's lot. You got to get prescriptions. The demand for medical services is a lot because of the needs that are presented by the illness. And so I tend to do my own research. I do a lot of research, and probably one of the most powerful things about YouTube is the the lectures that many people uh, present. There's a wealth of information that and there's a lot of garbage too, but there's a lot of good health and wellness ideas that people present, and it's worth a worthwhile self experiment on yourself. The only thing you can do to figure out what your body needs is to try. You know what I mean? Try certain things, listen to what people say, do your own research on the human body, make your own deductions, and so many of you probably know that I've been on my own health and wellness experience, recently. I'm doing my chia seed challenge. I'm almost done with that whole container, and I probably I'm going to drink some. I'm probably just going to pour the chia seeds in water and add a little bit of cinnamon to it, and just drink it down that way and get hydrated. Chia has a lot of iron in it, a whole bunch of iron. It's great for you women, especially when you're, you know, uh, great for all of us, really. Iron is an essential nutrient. You need it in your body for that hemoglobin of your blood. Okay. And the hemoglobin and the oxygen. Uh, so, um, where was I going with this? but, but being forced to find my own path to health and wellness has caused me to it has forced me to grow in a lot of different ways and seek out knowledge and do some self-experimentation. So today I'm continuing on in that journey, and I just want to share some things that I am discovering about myself. So about 5 o'clock, and I'm trying to keep a little journal of this. So this is just a scratch piece of paper, and then I'm not sure if it's gonna just stay here or not. But at about 5 p.m., I went to store and I got some cans of mackerel, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this mackerel and see what it's like. I ate them down. Much better than sardines. You know what I mean? Much better than sardines as far as um, flavor is concerned. So I have a couple cans of sardines that I'm just sitting on. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to eat them just because of their health and wellness. Um, Food is phenomenal. The real thing that I have been trying to increase in my diet is more calcium, and chia seeds are great for calcium and iron. Mackerels is, I don't think it's very good in calcium, but it's good in those omega 3s, which I'm trying to get. The sardines, the chia seeds, and the mackerel are great sources of the omega 3s. And this is the point that I'm trying to make. Eating those pieces of mackerel, I tested my blood sugar. My blood sugar was 47. Okay. At a 47 blood sugar, my physical mobility is usually impaired significantly. My ability to speak is significantly hindered. Cognitive skills, motor skills, things of that because of the low blood sugar. I had a 47, and I couldn't sense any difference in my normal functioning. Why? Because the high omega 3 content is brain fuel. Okay? This is one thing. The DHA and the EPA, you know what I mean, don't, are high in mackerel. And so I had about 7 grams between 2 cans of mackerel. I had about 7 grams of omega 3s, which is fabulous. This is what I'm trying to do. The omega 3s are good for your cardiovascular health, your heart health. Um, it's good for your brain health, in the energy. And I could see that because at a 47 blood sugar, I was perfectly fine. I had to test myself to really um, know what I was, because if I was just guessing, I would probably think I was about 100, 200, somewhere around there. I was 47. Okay, so what I did, I was like, okay, it's 47. That is low. And I have, I took some medication, some insulin, and so it could still be working in my body. And I was kind of like, I probably need to bring that blood sugar up. So I ate one banana, and it went from a 47 to an 85 off of one banana. You know what I mean? So about a 40-point increase in my blood sugar off of one banana. These are things that you might need to know if you're, how certain foods affect your blood sugar. Okay. I tested it again at 621. It's at 85, which is perfect. Um, and what I'm going to do is like I said, is I'm going to have some water, mix some chia seeds in with it, um, and some cinnamon, and drink that down, and see, and I test tomorrow. So what I'm going to do, self experimentation, fueling my body, and I can say this, I just know myself, when you experience diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a hospital visit, vomiting, diarrhea, electrolytes all over the place. You know what I mean? And I've had that on multiple occasions, multiple hospital visits, um, dealing with that issue. And when you go through diabetic ketoacidosis, your electrolytes, you're peeing them out. Your blood sugar's high. From your blood is becoming acidic. You know what I mean? Which I tend to look at acidity like an alkaline battery, right? When an alkaline battery loses its electrical charge, its mineral charge, it becomes acidic. And it's the same thing that happens with our body, right? When we lose our minerals. And so I've been trying to purposely replenish my minerals. You know what I mean? Because you need it. And so I've been trying to get minerals from my kelp. And I haven't taken in a while, but I have some capsules that I'll probably take tonight. I take some iron pills. I've been getting a lot of iron from the chia, um, And I've been eating a lot of whole fat plain yogurt and mixing in my chia seeds, mixing in some flax seeds, and I can tell you what, I've noticed a big difference in how I feel. You know what I mean? I'm going to continue on this journey as it's my health and wellness journey. I ain't got no choice but to continue on with it. But it's also a self experiment, and I'll continue to share with you that adventure and let you know. So, one thing I would highly recommend for anybody that's experiencing type 1 diabetes, you have to replenish your minerals. Full salt, full mineral salts like your pink Himalayan, your Celtic sea salts, you know, iodine, because iodine is extremely important for your hormones, specifically your insulin, and um, your thyroid hormones as well. You need iodine, it's an essential nutrient, and so kelp helps to serve that purpose. The seafood also helps to serve getting more iodine for boosting my energy, my metabolism. So a lot of people want to talk about they're tired and lethargic. You need minerals. Boost your iodine levels to help increase your metabolism and your energy. You know what I mean? Also mitochondria too. The mitochondria of your cells are the energy power producers from what I understand. And I believe that the omega 3, no, what is the omega 3 or the calcium that helps with the mitochondria? I'll have to review the truth on that. But I believe one of the things that I'm consuming is whether it's the calcium that is, or the iodine that's supposed to, what was I talking about? I'm forgetting. This is what happens when you just flow freely. Sometimes you're just talking and you forget. Um, I'll do my research and maybe I'll throw it in the notes. Maybe I'll do another video. Who could say? But that is some of the striking things that I'm learning in my own health and wellness. And the testing, right? The testing is essential for you to understand what's going on in your body. You need to get your test done so that you know baselines and where you're going, and how certain foods um, cause your blood sugars to spike. Blood sugar is acidic. Okay, so you look at sugar, right? Um, Hardly any minerals in sugar, in white bread, in the starches of pasta and things. Hardly any minerals, and those minerals are what actually give you your electrical charge. They increase your energy. It replenishes the minerals that you're losing and flushing out of your body. So you have high carb, low mineral foods, which is your sports drinks and your sodas and things like that. High carbs, no minerals, acidic. Okay, and those things hit a diabetic's body, and they turn his blood acidic because he doesn't have the minerals to neutralize that. And when you become when you go through diabetic ketoacidosis, your body begins to leach the minerals out of your body to neutralize the acids. Every diabetic should have way more minerals in their body, because you're going to pee them out. Normal people pee them out. We all pee them out. We all sweat them out. You know what I mean? However, you have a greater need to increase your minerals just to bring some stability and to get out of the acidic state of your body. So, that being said, I'm on my health and wellness adventure. I hope this information helps someone out there. This is my battle against type 1 diabetes, and I'm going to conquer. I have already conquered. And you first conquer your mental illness, or not mental illness, your physical sickness in your mind first. How you face it matters. Do you face your sickness with hope, or do you in faith, or do you face your sickness that you're battling with anxiety, worry, fear, dread? Because your mental state matters when you face challenges. You know what I mean? Um, so blessings upon you. I hope that information is helpful, and now I'm going to continue on as I go with this experiment in uh, health and wellness adventure. I'll share with you what I learn and what I discover on the way, and maybe we'll learn something together. Shalom, blessings upon you, and if I can remember, I'll try to um, the mitochondria, ATP. I believe ATP is phosphorus, right? You need phosphorus. You know, you need the calcium for energy. Nobody ever talks about the need for more phosphorus, right? You know, we don't even when people take tests for calcium, 90 they say 99% of the calcium is actually in your bones. So you don't even know how much calcium you have in your body because there's no test. You know, well, maybe there are some tests, but they do blood work, and only 1% of your calcium is actually in your blood. So the tests are, from what I understand, are not exactly accurate. But know this: all the people that are hit older life and get into osteoporosis, you need more calcium. You do, and it's probably one of the most prevalent. I think it's like oxygen is the most abundant element in the body, then carbon, then I believe hydrogen, and then calcium, I think, is next. So I think calcium and phosphorus. You know, I think they're like the fifth or sixth most abundant element in the body. And so, you know, people get older and they lost all this calcium because they haven't been replenishing it, and the doctors ain't telling them nothing. You know what I mean? Letting people go in sickness and negligence, right? Like you're not educating on people on what they need to be doing to better their body. You know, or the information you give them is the wrong information. You know, and this is why a doctor don't really know what you need to be healthy. He can write you a prescription. He might be able to run some tests and uh, give you a diagnosis, but he's probably not the best person to tell you what you need in your body to be healthy. You have to figure that out for yourself. You got to go through a process of self-discovery. But I can guarantee you this: you look at the body's composition and the most abundant elements in the body, and that'll tell you what you need. You know what I mean? To target those things, your vitamins are absolutely essential. I know when I take vitamins, I feel a difference. However, you need a lot more minerals. Your minerals are probably more important. They are more important than the micronutrients of your vitamins. I believe the health and wellness information they're giving you about the recommended daily allowances is probably, you know, if you double it, you might be better. You know, cut the carbs out of your diet completely. If you're a diabetic, cut them out completely. Go with high fat. You know, when I say high fat, I'm talking about like dairy, yogurts. You know, from what I understand, cottage cheese is supposed to be really, really a high fat, low carb, and high protein. You know what I mean? I do a lot of seeds. You know, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, sunflower seeds. I'll eat nuts because or not the almonds, the walnuts have very, very high omega 3s, the ALA, and I've been trying to get more of those in me as well. Plus, walnuts have a ton of minerals in them. The nuts, the seeds, the beans, the good fibers that you're getting out of the chia seeds and the nuts, the fiber. You need a ton more. And when you make these dietary changes, you're going to see a major difference in your overall health, because you're going to be getting those minerals. You're going to be getting the things that you're going to be fueling your body for success. The pizza that you eat, it may fill your belly, but it has no uh it doesn't have the nutrient density that your body needs. And so, that being said, when you're talking about the mitochondria of your cells, um, the iodine for energy, the omega-3s for brain energies, the minerals for energy, the calcium for energy, and the fats. This whole crap about, you know, um, the breads being on the base of the pyramid. That's the carbs are what is killing us. That's the acid that we're eating. Um, the sugar acids we're drinking, that's making our bodies acidic with no mineral value, no nutrient value. And excuse me, the church bells are going off here. But I guess this is perfect time to stop it. Shalom. Until next time. Goodbye.